The House Judiciary Committee has advanced a resolution to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. The potential charges stem from the Justice Department's refusal to turn over recordings in connection to Biden's classified documents case. The Biden administration has asserted executive privilege over the audio recordings of the president's interview with special counsel Robert Hur, though paper transcripts have been provided. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us now from Capitol Hill. So, Scott, break down for us what happened with the Judiciary Committee and tell us what happens next.
Hours of debate, hours of speeches, but Lana, very few surprises. The die was cast on this when they scheduled the markup and the vote. House Republicans have the numbers. They have the majority on this Judiciary Committee, and they were poised to find the Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. They say he defied a subpoena and warns contempt of Congress for not handing over the audio copies of President Biden's interview with the special counsel Robert Hur during the classified records probe. They did get the full transcript. Democrats throughout this day emphasized that the Republicans had the full transcript, but Republicans said their subpoena called for the audio. They said the audio was necessary because the written word doesn't say as much or communicate as much as the actual audio of an interview, with the pauses, the inflections, the things you hear orally that you can't read off a page. But the Attorney General argued emphatically that the transcripts being provided was an extraordinary step by the Department of Justice to a congressional committee, and that the audio would have gone too far for two reasons. It would have chilled or impacted future investigations by the feds, either scaring off witnesses who don't want their voices disseminated to Congress or publicly, or making it harder to secure interviews. And secondly, the Attorney General told us this morning he thinks that would have gone political for his department. To engage in that type of release would have put them in the world of campaigns and in the world of politics, where the Attorney General says the Department of Justice must not step.
Scott, I'm hoping you can refresh our viewers' memory, because in some ways I feel like you and I are talking about this because we're well aware of the bombshell that Hur dropped when he released his report's findings and decided that they weren't going to pursue criminal charges or any sort of charges against him, in part because they sort of said he seemed like a forgetful grandpa, basically. Remind our viewers why the Republicans feel like there is something to be had politically or in understanding those pauses and some of the subcontext of what's going on.
The special counsel appointed by the Attorney General, it's Robert Hur, a former Maryland prosecutor who was investigating the president's alleged mishandling of classified records at his home and at his Washington, D.C. office. And Robert Hur concluded that report saying there would be no recommendation of criminal charges. This is different than the classified records case involving former President Trump. But he added some language to his report that captured the eyes and ears of Republicans in Congress, saying that one of the issues here is that President Biden, during that lengthy interview, communicated himself in the way of an elderly man who was well-intentioned, and alluded to forgetfulness by President Biden. Republicans want to get at that. They want to know what forgetfulness means and potentially what forgetfulness sounds like. What happened during that interview to raise that concern from the special counsel? The White House counsel, in announcing they'd be exercising executive privilege and withholding that audio, said the White House is concerned Republicans would chop up and distort the audio of the president and use it for campaign purposes. That's one of the arguments they made for withholding it. But Robert Hur, the special counsel who has closed up his office, he is done with his operation, has been accused by Democrats of showing his politics. He was a Republican appointee as a U.S. attorney in Maryland during the Trump administration. They think he went well beyond where he had to go, using the word elderly and referencing forgetfulness.
Yeah. So, Scott, in the justification that the White House is giving for why they're exerting executive privilege, they're saying, well, Republicans, we think, are going to misuse this for political purposes, but can withholding it for political purposes be a justifiable reason for the president to exert executive privilege?
The White House obviously is arguing that their exercise of executive privilege is well-founded in many different ways, based on precedent and based on the fact that they have given so much to this committee. All the pages, the thick packet of deposition transcript. There were Democrats today during the vote in the Judiciary Committee, holding up the package, showing its size, showing its breadth, saying you've got everything you need here. But the White House counsel did allude to the suspicion that Republicans would try to weaponize that audio in a campaign season during an election year. Whether there's a political ramification to that, we're about to find out, aren't we? As we enter the general election, does President Biden pay a political cost for that or not? But they believe they're well-footed legally. And we asked the Attorney General during a brief press conference this morning if there was concerns about transparency or politics optically in this decision, and he said the decision was made, Lana, to avoid immersing the department in politics.
Well, it is already immersed in politics, arguably. It certainly has been a talking point on the campaign trail. So, Scott, this is the Judiciary Committee that's advanced this contempt of Congress resolution. We know that there's also another resolution that's being considered on the same charges. Where does all this go from here? And now that one has been advanced, does it make it more likely that the others advance? And does that in any way make a more compelling case for the Justice Department, or they'll do what they want to do?
Yes, a second committee is going to do the same thing tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Mark up their resolution to hold the Attorney General in contempt. The House Oversight Committee has some jurisdiction here, so they're going to do the same. The House Oversight Committee is all but certain to pass this on party lines as well. They have the numbers, Republicans do, on that committee, and they seem prepared, if not eager, to pass this too. This would then go, if the Speaker allows it, to the House floor. If the U.S. House passes this, it would be a formal recommendation to the Department of Justice to consider a contempt of Congress criminal charge against the head of the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney General. I don't want to speak to the prospects of that getting through the Department of Justice, but they probably are pretty bleak. But the prospects for the House passage tonight, pretty certain.
All right, Scott MacFarlane, very interesting stuff. Thank you.